So YarnderWoman, do you like these knitted socks you've got?
Absolutely, they're the prettiest ones I've ever seen.
Ah, fabulous. Well, I know you're all relaxed and lying down, and so is Smudge, the Yander dog. But what do you reckon? Shall we record a podcast?
Yep.
Let's do it. Miss Smudgy. Hello, darling. Hello, Smudgy. What do you think of Smudge, YarnderWoman?
Very cute.
We're sitting on the part of the couch where Smudge usually sits, so this is what he's doing right now. Who's that, Smudgy? Is that you? Where's Smudgy? Hello.
Where did you get him?
He's from a rescue place. Aren't you, darling? Such a good boy. Hello everyone, welcome to episode 77 of the YarnderWoman podcast. My name is Melinda. You can find me as YarnderWoman on Instagram and Ravelry. And I'm joined by a bit of a nippy Smudge. I'm also joined by YarnderMum, who you will have just seen in the intro, but she's having a little nap now. She's right here next to me. Say hello, YarnderMum.
Hello, YarnderMum.
And I'm sure she will be on camera as soon as possible. She's just having a little nap to recharge, to bring as much of her beautiful awesomeness as possible.
Yippee!
So today is Saturday the 26th of January 2019. Happy New Year. I know it's a few weeks since the new year began, but this is my first episode of 2019. I recorded, as some of you may have seen, Vlogmas episodes all through December last year, and that was great fun. I'll put a link in the show notes, which can be found at www.yarnderwoman.blogspot.com.au, and that link will be to both my Ravelry site, where it's got all the episodes from Vlogmas, as well as the YouTube link, because there's a playlist, which means you can just play and it'll just continue, play the first one and it'll just continue through. If you're interested, it's not all Christmassy stuff, there's other things as well, but you know, if you're not, that's fine too. If you did watch and you enjoyed it, thank you so much. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope that you've got something lovely to drink, maybe working on a craft project, maybe you're driving to work, whatever you are doing, thank you so much for being here, and let's go on and broach the subject. So today's brooch is a little koala, and I got this at a little shop in the town of Bendigo, where the Australian Sheep and Wool Show is held every year, when YarnderMum and I went to the Wool Show back in 2016. So I'm not sure of the designer or the shop. However, it's the earrings that I really wanted to focus on. So they say stop violence against women, which is a topic I am very passionate about. I have mentioned it many times on the podcast. And it was quite appropriate to wear these today, not only because I wanted to wear them and show you, but the maker of these, who is House of Dizzy, is a fantastic jewellery maker in Melbourne, actually close to Bendigo, but not related, just the same state. She is an Indigenous woman, an Indigenous designer, and it's very appropriate because today in Australia, the 26th of January, it is a national holiday of Australia Day, which denotes when the first fleet of ships of white settlers from England came to Australia, so in 1788. So it's called Australia Day. However, my beliefs of it are very much mirrored by what the Indigenous First Nations people of the country state, in that it was an invasion day. It was the beginning of colonisation and genocide, which unfortunately is still ongoing. So I wanted to acknowledge here that the land that my house is on always was and always will be Aboriginal land. It's part of the Greater Noongar Nation, and I am very grateful for all the contributions that our Indigenous people make to our society. So yes, House of Dizzy, some fantastic fantastic jewelry. I'm very, very happy to have these. So, as well as it being an appropriate day to be discussing that here in Australia, I also wanted to touch on what's been the conversation that's been happening on Instagram over the last couple of weeks. I will link to a Ravelry thread that links to all the most relevant posts and collections of posts that have been on Instagram. So, as well as it being a very poignant day for Australia to try and recognise its Black history, I also wanted to, or it does tie into the conversation of race and diversity and exclusion that has blown up on Instagram the last couple of weeks. It's a long overdue conversation. So I'm very pleased that it's finally come to light. So it's grown much bigger. It was sparked by a particular blog post. But it's grown much bigger into, as I said, a much needed discussion of race and exclusion and how the fibre community can come together and be better. So I will put a link if you're unsure about the conversation or what's been happening, if you're not on Instagram. There's a Ravelry thread that was set up, and within that thread is links to all the main people on Instagram who were starting these conversations. And so I'll put that there if you want to follow. And so part of that conversation has been where people such as myself with white privilege, I need to come forward and work out what work I need to do because, you know, I'm not racist, but I have, benefited from white privilege, and so I'm going to continue to work hard to make sure that I unpack everything that I could be doing inadvertently. I have always intended, and I hope it has been, that this podcast is a place of welcome for everyone, no matter your race, your sexual orientation, your gender identity, anything. So if there's anything I can do better, I'm going to look into that and do the work to make sure that I can make this place, this podcast, this Ravelry group, my Instagram feed, as welcoming and safe a place as I can make it. So thank you for bearing with me. If there's ever anything I've done that's offended anyone, I wholeheartedly apologise, but I'm going to keep doing the work. Some further links that I'll put in about that were from Layla Syed on Instagram. She has a workbook you can do called White Supremacy, where you're, unlocking what you might have in your thoughts. And then Rachel Cargill as well from Instagram also has a similar thing. So I'll put links to all of that in the show notes. And I really thank everyone who has been part of that conversation in a good way. By that I mean, unfortunately, racism reared its head beyond just the initial thing that sparked the conversation. So I know there's been a lot of upset for a lot of people. And yeah, I just hope that you're all having a good day, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from. And I am going to make sure that I do as much as I can to make sure that I can contribute positively to everyone. So what do you reckon, YarnderMum?
Yay!
YarnderMum's in agreement. So let's all do better. We can do it. So I've got YarnderMum holding all the finished objects I'm going to show, and she just asked if they were all for her, and I've disappointed her terribly. Sorry YarnderMum. Finished objects that I have. First off is this one. This is knit, I just went blank, Knit Picks Felici self-striping yarn, and I sort of just made up the pattern. I cast on a whole lot of stitches and did a rolled brim, so it'll roll up a little bit more depending on how long the person wants it. You can see I haven't cut off the ends yet. This is going to be donated to charity, and I did a 3-needle bind off at the top while the hat was inside out, so that's how the 3-needle bind off looks. So there's that one. I believe this colourway is called Sunset. It's an older one of the Felici I just had in stash.
Oh, can I have one of those, please?
All right, well, why don't I do you one in colours that you wear lots of, like purples and blues?
Yep.
Yep, okay. All right. YarnderMum gets quite tired in the afternoon, but I wasn't able to tee things up to record in the morning. So afternoon it is, but that's okay. She's giving her vibes, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I'll just lean over to the pile that's on YarnderMum's tummy. This is another Knit Picks Felici hat. This is one I cast on, if you watched my Vlogmas videos, I think it was the middle of December, around the 15th or something. And I cast it on just to have an easy project to go round and round on. So again, it's a rolled brim and then the 3 needle bind off. I really like how I've done this. I did, I think, just one round of the black, just wherever the black started. I didn't bother going back to the beginning of a round. So I did one whole round of the black, then the 3 needle bind off, so that gives it quite a nice even colour distribution. So again, that's, as I said, the Felici.
For Grandma.
Well, this one's not for Grandma, for you. I'll do you a blue and purple one.
Okay.
Yeah. The spooky colourway, this is a Halloween one from last year, so that's one of the more recent ones. I think you can still get that one on the Knit Picks website. It's a hat parade, it often is, but this one is very fun. Isn't that cool? So this, do you want to,
very small.
Do you want to put that one on and show everyone?
It's too big.
Too big, is it? Or too small? Both. Yeah. When I said there was a hat parade, YarnderMum tried to put this one on. But hey, look, I think you're rocking it. It could be like what do you call it? A fascinator. You know, like just a little hat on the side there. There you go. Yep. All right. Well, you mind that one. So this hat and this cowl are knit with the same yarn, but look how the colour pooling has worked out differently. So I have gone blank on the name of this yarn dye. It's an Australian dyer. Actually, this exact yarn that I bought when I went to Bendigo to the Australian Sheep and Wool Show. Oh gosh, I always link to my Ravelry project pages in my show notes, and there's also a link for those down below in YouTube. Oh gosh, so it'll have the details there. I'm sorry, I've forgotten. So first off, I knit this cowl. This is for my niece Emma. She's 11. She turned 11 the other day, and tomorrow is her birthday party. And a while back, she'd asked me for a scarf or a shawl that kept her neck warm. So I thought a cowl was a really good idea. I did buy a cowl pattern. I'm a bit useless today, aren't I? I'm forgetting everything. I'm not useless, let's be positive. Again, it'll be linked in the show notes, so I'm terribly sorry, and if you have any issues and can't get to the show notes or any questions, please do contact me. But the cowl pattern, it started with this ribbing sequence, and then it changed into another sequence of including ribbing and such. And when I looked at it, I thought I didn't really like it because instead of ribbing continuing to go up, it sort of went off, and it to me looked a little bit like a mistake, even though it wasn't. That was the pattern, and I'm sure it's beautiful and lots of people have made projects that they really like, but for what I wanted to do, I decided to just do ribbing the whole way. So I just knit it until I thought it looked a good length. Obviously her neck space will be a little bit shorter than mine, so this is good. She can fold it over or bunch it up, whatever. So I thought that would be really good. And that only used about, it was either 40 or 60 grams. So I thought I'd make a hat with the extra. And I just cast on a number of stitches and did some ribbing for a little while, and then I think here you can see I increased once I got to the stockinette because I was a little bit concerned it was going to be too small, and I think I did that in a couple of other places, maybe here. So yeah, it's not very noticeable, it doesn't matter. But yeah, in the ribbing you can see the pooling was going that way. Once I increased the stitches and was doing stockinette, it started going that way, and I think that's so fun. And these colours my niece loves, all the blues and purples and dusty pinks, but I think they really look like very on-trend colours, I think, in terms of things you might see in stationery shops and that sort of thing. That's what it reminds me of, like big blotches of coloured ink or something. So I hope she likes it. I do have a little bit of yarn left over, so I'll ask her when she puts it on if she'd like a pom-pom, and then I can get that happening. So I know the colourway of this is called Lavender Sparkle, and you can see here it's got all the stellina in it, so that's very good fun. So that's a nice set. that I hope will make a very good 11th birthday present. So as much as YarnderWoman would like this for herself, I think we'll still donate it to charity. It can be a baby's hat, do you think? Yeah. So this I used just to use up some yarn that I had left. I had some purple bulky weight yarn. I think this is Knit Picks Chroma Twist perhaps. And then these pinks were all worsted weight that I held double. They were left over from something. So I essentially just kept knitting and it ended up being like the perfect amount to make this little teeny tiny baby hat. So that's going to charity along with those other striped ones. That would be lovely. We're a podcast of many parts for this episode. Yesterday, Mum was getting very tired, as you could see in the bits that she was in the episode, or you could hear her. She was pretty much lying down on the couch already. So she decided she really needed to go home and have a sleep. Little Smudgy, who's here next to me now having a sleep, was not that quiet when we were recording, and he started chewing on the leg of the stand the camera was on. So all in all, it was just time to finish filming. But I am about to go now to my niece's birthday party. So I've got those two things there that I was briefly showing you. And I had the mental blank on the yarn, and it's this one, Candy Apple Lane, hand-dyed yarn, sweeter than sugar. So as I said earlier, that was one I got in Bendigo, Australian Sheep and Wool Show in 2016. And the colourway is Lavender Sparkle. So it's got merino nylon stellina. So that's the lovely hat and the cowl, and we've got that much yarn left. So as I said, I'll ask my niece if she would like a pom-pom on the top. I think that'll be quite a big pom-pom if I used all of that, so we will see what she's interested in. Otherwise, I was thinking I could do like little wrist warmers or something, but they'd literally be more like just the wrist, so almost like Wonder Woman cuffs. That could be something we could look into. And it'd be interesting to see how the yarn pulls on a smaller circumference as well. And I was thinking with this, she could also wear it inside out, but you know, that would be the new right way around. I have to show you this with one hand, sorry. But she could have it where, you know, there's more of the raised pearls, raised knits showing on that side. I was right the first time. More of the pearls with the smaller knit stitches showing. I was going to say I haven't had coffee, I've actually had two, so we won't worry about that. So yes, that's that. I knit it in this very cute sort of fairy tale whimsical bag from Love Sock Wool that I've had for a few years. It's a lovely project. I really hope she likes it, and I will be sure to let you know what she thinks of it. Hi, I'm back. For you, it's been a couple of seconds. For me, it's been over a week. It's now the 3rd of February. So I think I explained that I had to end recording with YarnderWoman the other day, which was sad. She sends her best wishes and hellos to everyone, but she's not here now for the rest of the episode. But I am. I've got some miso soup. Yes, very, very interesting, isn't it? Powdered miso changed my life. Organic red miso powder from the bulk food shop, The Source, if you can get it anywhere. So good. You just mix it with hot water. Best thing ever. That's something you don't have to ask me on my Ask Me Anything thread. How's that for a segue? So since starting this episode and now, I've set up an Ask Me Anything thread on Ravelry, in the Ravelry group. So do go over there and pop a question in if you'd like. I'll answer the questions on the podcast. If no one has any questions, that's fine. We won't answer any questions, whatever. I've also specified there if the question is too personal, I won't answer it. Or if it involves someone else's business or whatever. But do let me know, because I'm happy to talk about most things. Yeah, so there you go. The project I was showing you at the end of our filming day with YarnderWoman was this gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful bonbon shawl designed by Isabel of Fluffy Fibres, and it's knit with DK weight yarn. And this is the DK weight pattern obviously, and there's also a fingering weight, the bonbon shawlette, and I did knit that several years ago when the pattern first came out, and I've always really liked the shape because it was sort of wider rather than tall, so it was really good for wrapping around. And I've been thinking towards the end of last year that I would really like to knit the DK one because I really like the stitch pattern as well, this sort of honeycomb here. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, such a beautiful pattern, and the yarn, which I'll tell you about in just a second. But back to the pattern. Yes, I've been thinking about knitting a DK one. So I've put together a Make 9 list. You might have seen this on Instagram. It's just makers nominate 9 patterns or 9 of something that they'd like to make for the year. No rules around what those things are, just things you'd like to make. I've never done this before because I've always thought it would be very restricting, or that I would feel stressed about having a list. But for whatever reason this year, having a Make 9 list is actually really inspiring me. And I think it's because a lot of the things I've put on there are things I've been thinking about making for a while and that I've really wanted to make for a while. So this is going to be really good. Now I'm going to film a separate episode where I talk about all my Make 9 plans and just my 2019 plans in general. So there'll be more specifics there. So yes, more and detailed explanations of my Make 9 list, but this was on it, the Bonbon Shawl, and it was my first finished object of the year and my first Make 9 finished object. So I'll just show you from the edges, because it's quite a good size. Oh, I'm so happy with it, and it's really nice and squishy. It's summer here, so I don't need it at the moment, but that's okay. Oh, Smudge is following the shawl along. Let's not have him sample it. Oh, he's lying down. Oh, you can't see it, but trust me, it's cute. So, onto these gorgeous yarns. This one here, this variegated, purples and greens and white, that is by the Cyborg's Craft Room. And it was the colourway They're Coming For You, Barbara, which is a quote from a Halloween movie. Name escapes me, but it was part of her Halloween range. Now, unfortunately, Cyborg's Craft Room is no longer a business because Megan passed away, which is very sad. I feel very fortunate to have quite a bit of her yarn in my stash because maybe 2011, 2012, the Australian dollar was equal to the American dollar, and I bought a lot of yarn off Etsy at that time, and I was also really just starting to come into finding hand dyes at that time. So yes, I am very fortunate in general to have bought any yarn, but also very fortunate that I have a lot of Megan's yarn. And this colourway is just beautiful. You know, it's purples and greens, but just the way she dyes is so clever, and it looks beautiful, especially, like, it looks gorgeous on this garter, but especially on the honeycomb section. And then this purple here is one by Bendigo Woolen Mills. Gosh, there's a lot of Bendigo references because I know I was talking about that in the earlier parts of the podcast. I do remember that from last week. And it's a fibre. I don't think I've brought the tag over. I was saying that a lot at the beginning of the episode, wasn't I? I do apologise. I think I was a little bit not quite flustered, but because I had Mum and I was trying to keep her calm and happy, and then Smudge was doing things, I think I was a little bit not quite focused, so I forgot a lot of things. So bear with me for that. Everything will be in the show notes or on my Ravelry page. But yes, I don't have the tag for this one, but I know I definitely have the tag for some other stuff. But this is 80 or 90% wool, 10% milk fibre. So it's actually a fibre been made by drying out milk, I believe is how they do it. So I bought this in 2016. And I think I just bought one ball, though it's a 200-gram ball, because I thought it was just sounded interesting and something different. Now, it's not something I would buy now because I've actually become vegan I was vegetarian, but I've become vegan because I also have a dairy intolerance. So, you know, my personal feelings aside, it doesn't respond, sorry, my body doesn't respond well to dairy. So that plus my own personal ethics, milk is not for me anymore. No judgment whatsoever, of course. I'm only talking about me. So yes, I wouldn't buy a milk fibre these days, but I have it in my stash, so I'm going to use it. And also to clarify, I am eating a vegan diet, but I have a lot of wool in my stash. This is 100% merino, there's wool in this. I think everything I'm going to show you is wool. So I'm going to use the stash that I have. And I'm also in I haven't found a place where I sit, because in terms of, you know, synthetic fibres, while they may not harm animals, that's really bad for the environment. And sheep need to be shorn. So obviously, you know, I would want the sheep to be looked after and all that sort of thing. I know there's been a lot of discussion on Instagram earlier in the year. I think Clara Parks was pushing a lot of it, which was a really good conversation about wool being natural and all the wonderful benefits of wool. So don't get me wrong there. I'm not, again, stating anything for anyone else's beliefs, nor am I anti-wool at all. I'm very pro-wool. But I think going forward with my purchases, I'd like to buy more ethical, from ethical producers and that sort of thing. Quick aside, just in case people were thinking vegan, but you're using wool. So I'm speaking about, I'm having a vegan diet, and I try to just live sustainably with the environment in mind where I can. Of course, I'm not perfect. I make a lot of mistakes all the time, but that's my trying. Back to the shawl. What I had, the shawl, the pattern calls for, I think 200 grams. So I could have done the whole thing in the purple, and I was going to. I got out the ball and I was like, perfect, good to go. And then I read the pattern, and Isabel talks about the pattern being really great for variegated yarn because of the stitch pattern showing it off. And I thought, oh, well, that's a shame then to not use a variegated. But I don't have a lot of DK weight yarn in my stash, and the only variegated one I had was this beauty. So I thought, well, I'll just do half and half. And initially I was just going to knit all of the Cyborgs Craft Room as far as I could go, and then just join the purple. But what I decided to do here with this eyelet row, I thought, oh, it might be interesting to introduce the second colour here so that it's not just a straight half and half. And I'm really happy that I did that, and I'm really happy with how it turns out. As I was knitting along, I was thinking it would have been good, because I just knit until I ran out of the Cyborgs Craft Room here. And then you can see there was a little bit more of the honeycomb pattern than the ending. What I was thinking of, it would have been good had I weighed my yarn and sorted out to have had enough Cyborgs Craft Room for this eyelet pattern, so that the eyelets were in the opposite yarn that they were surrounded by. But I didn't think of it in time. I'd already started the purple. I'm like, I'm not ripping it out. I'm not that bothered by it. It was like, oh yeah, that would have been good, but I don't care enough at all. Like, I'm not bothered at all with how this has turned out. But if you're planning to do one and you have enough yarn, that could be something you want to try. So yes, all in all, it worked out really well. Not having enough yarn in one, I think, was a boon, because I really love how it's turned out with the two different yarns. And when I blocked it, I just blocked it over a clothes horse, like a clothes air dryer, not air dryer, clothes airer. We call them clothes ponies, because I think we used to have a big one and a little one, so we called the big one the clothes horse and the little one the clothes pony. Anyway. So I didn't, block it, with pins and pull it out. So the eyelets could, like there, for example, on the edges, some of the eyelets could be pulled a bit more, but I thought there's no point, because I'm going to be putting it away in the drawer till winter. There's no point being really fussy with the blocking for now. So I just soaked it, put it over the clothes horse, and off I went. And I just haven't trimmed my ends yet. I always weave in the ends before I block, because then when they relax, there's enough room. So I'll trim those off, and then it'll go into the cupboard for now. This finished object is finished, but I have to fix this stitch that I found after I bound off. This is another Felici hat. This time it's the Acrobat colorway, and I've got a little bit left, and I really like this green and the purple. That looks like, I don't know, you can probably still get it, but when we were little you could get the Neapolitan ice cream with your traditional strawberry, chocolate, vanilla. But they also had one that was green, orange and white. I think maybe it was melon flavours. To be honest, I can't remember what the flavours were, but this is what it reminds me of, so it's nice and nostalgic for my childhood in summer. Yes, this is the colours, with all the colours. So that bit I showed you is the leftovers there. This one is for Yarnder Nephew 2, so my other Yarnder Nephew, Yarnder Phoenix. And Damien and I caught up with my niece and nephew, Phoenix and Lexi, and their mum and Damien's parents a few weeks ago, well, during the school holidays. and I was knitting on one of the other hats I showed you, and both of them know that I have this podcast. I think they've both featured in the podcast before. And so they call me YarnderWoman instead of Auntie Minda or Auntie Melinda, which is very cute. And Phoenix, who's 8, came up to me as I was knitting. He said, "YarnderWoman, what are you yarning?" It's very cute. And so because it was a hat on the needles, I could try it on them. And the size that I had, which I believe was 160 stitches, fit them really well. In fact, it was quite a bit big for Phoenix, but I asked them if they'd like one, and they said yes. And then I said I could also do them with the cat ears, which they're very excited about, because I was knitting the one that they saw, I obviously hadn't finished it yet, so I couldn't show them the cat ears, but that's what they asked for. So because it was for Phoenix, and his head was a little bit smaller than the one, I didn't use all of the yarn, hence I cast off here. So I'll insert a picture. I got both of them to try on the hat so that I could work out the length and everything for the one that I was going to make. So cute and very knit-worthy. So yes, after I'd cast it off, I realised that it dropped, so I'll just weave that in and tie it at the back before I block it. And I'll show you the one for Lexi in Works in Progress. But another finished object I have for you, excuse me leaning over, is a big squishy baby blanket. This was very quick to knit. This is another Knit Picks yarn, but it's a bulky. It's the Chroma Twist, and the colourway is Leaf. So I actually used 2 balls of this, and it's the Nana's Favourite Dishcloth pattern. So you cast on, it's a free pattern, cast on 4 stitches I think, and then you do a knit 2 yarn over at the beginning of every round, and so you knit a diamond essentially. I've knit a rectangle because what I did was so you go out as wide as you want it, then you start decreasing in. So it's knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 2 together. So it makes the thing. So I stopped my first ball before I'd finished the end. I could probably have done another 1 row across, but I thought I'll stop because I don't want to run out of yarn at the end and have nothing. On the second ball, I had that much left. What did I do wrong? I have no idea. And so hence I made a rectangle. So when I folded it in half, the edges didn't match. So I sort of decided to just emphasize that fact. So when I blocked it, it's blocked more into a rectangle, which I think is good for a baby anyway. You know, either size is good for a baby. The baby doesn't mind. The baby just wants to be warm. But I think, you know, you can lay it over them now with it being shorter on one end and then, you know, longer down the side. And I love how this yarn turned out. So the Chroma Twist bulky, I think there's a fingering one as well. It's got your colourways, and then you can see it, the different threads of the yarn transition, and so you get striped effects. And I think both the balls started at the same place, so they sort of flowed on quite nicely, and even if they didn't, it wouldn't have made too much difference because it's a transitioning yarn. And I think this is a really good size because it's something you can just lay over the baby, and then, you know, depending on what the baby likes and as the toddler likes, they can, you know, carry it around as a comfort thing or not, you know, that's up to them. This is for a friend. I've called it my project on Ravelry, the surprise baby blanket, because their impending arrival was a surprise for them, which is, they're very happy, they're lovely. So they asked for some greens, and as I said, very quick project. I did it on 7mm Chiaogu needles, and that was living in this gorgeous project bag. How cute is this? It's like old sewing patterns. This is from Love Sock Wool. I love her bottle cap tops, bottle top tags. You know what I'm trying to say. So cute. I just love it. And it's a very good size. You can see I've just had the project in there. And I'll be trimming the ends and then giving it, because I believe little baby is due in March, so not long to go, which is exciting. And making this project is rather, my first project off my charity and gift make 9 list. So yes, I really liked making these Make 9s, and there were more things that I wanted to add, and a lot of them are for gifts, plus I want to do a lot of charity things, so I've made a separate one. So again, tune into the other episode and you'll hear more about that, but this one's my first one done. First work in progress is living in this cute bag. This is by Bling Your String. And I just love the black and white. Oh, look, it goes so matchy, matchy, matchy. But living in it is not a black and white. It's lovely blues and blacks, blues and purples. This is the hat for Yarnder Lexi, Yarndanese too, to match the one Phoenix had. This is Knit Picks Felici in the Mountain Mist colourway. And it's so pretty. Look at those blues. I especially love this darker sort of, it looks more blue on the screen, but it looks a bit tealy blue. I don't know why I said tealy like that, but anyway, there you go. You can sort of see it a bit better. Really like that. This is a beautiful colourway. I'm really enjoying knitting with it. It's really colours that YarnderWoman would like as well, but I only have the one ball of it, so I'll, I'm sure, find some other yarn that I can use for her. Same non-pattern. I just cast on 160, start doing stockinette so I get a rolled brim, and I'll be doing the 3 needle bind off at the top to get cat ears. Another drop stitch. I was just knitting in the car. Damien and I went out to Diabolic Books. If you're ever in Perth, it's a great independent bookshop. And I noticed in the car that I just dropped a stitch, so I'll just ladder that up because it's only a few rows down, so there'll still be plenty of yarn to give it another stitch above. I was going to be knitting this colour as part of Kalisha from Quirky Monday Craft Cast. Her, oh, what does she call it? Sorry, I've got to write it down. Pisces, Colours of Pisces Make Along, which is from the 19th of February to the 20th of March, so the period of the Pisces star sign, which is Kalisha's star sign. She's a Pisces and a February girl. She'll be knitting her birthday socks. And it's for that, I'll link to it in the show notes, but it's anything, you know, blue or green to do Pisces, the sea, the ocean, the sea or the ocean, or rivers, you know, water, that sort of thing. So I thought these colours would be very good, but you have to have, any works in progress must be less than 50%, and I've already mistakenly gone over 50% of this ball, so this I'll just keep going and I'll find something else that I can knit during the make-along. I actually hadn't intended to knit on this at all prior to the make-along, but I needed a new project and I was just needing to quickly grab it before going out the door the other day, because you may have seen on Instagram I went to an event with Dr. Michael Mosley. He's done a lot of work on the benefits of fasting for overall health and things like type 2 diabetes, but also brain health, which with mum having Alzheimer's, brain health and Alzheimer's prevention is very much on my mind. Pardon the pun. So I went along and it was fantastic, and I needed some knitting to have, of course. And I already had this ball put aside because I'd gotten it out with the other one, so that I was going to do one for Phoenix and for Lexi. And I was in a rush, and I thought, oh, that's fine, I'll just cast it on. Won't be a problem. I think I put a stitch marker in to show how much I knit at that event. There it is. So I cast on and knit this much for like an hour before the event and then during, and I actually got Dr. Mosley to hold my knitting at the end. That was very fun. So yes, I got that much done. Then I was catching the train for a couple of days for work because I've been driving quite a lot, but Damien needed the car. So I've been catching the train. So again, in a hurry in the morning, I was like, oh, I'll just take that. And then I think I was in a conference event. There was something. I got quite a lot done. So I kept just grabbing it going, that's fine, as long as I stop before halfway, it's fine. But yeah, I accidentally kept going. So never mind. It just means I need something else for the knit along, but isn't it pretty, these colours? And I believe this colour and the Acrobat are more recent Felici colours, so I think you can get them at the moment. Pretty, pretty. Another one of my Make 9 projects is the Kit Kat hat by Andre Sue Knits. And I have knit this hat at least, no, more than once before, both times for the under 10. One in this purple colour. You might know where this is going. and one in another red colour. And I've also knitted some fingerless gloves in this same shade of purple. This is another Knit Picks yarn. This is Swish Worsted in the Amethyst Heather colourway. And the fingerless gloves I think were in Swish Fingering Weight, but in the same Amethyst Heather. And she loved the hat and she wore it everywhere. Last winter here in Perth, she was wearing the hat, as I said, everywhere. And she and her friends, I think it was because most of her friends turned 18 last year, so they were allowed to legally go to the casino. So one of them wanted to go just because. And Sophie was wearing this hat, and she took it off when she was inside because she got hot. And then she came home and she didn't have it anymore. Called the casino, they said, yes, we found a purple beanie, we'll put it aside for you. That's fine. She then, I think, tried to get it another time and no one gave it to her. Anyway, her nana eventually said that she would go and get it because she knew it was hand knitted, you know, didn't want her to lose it. So then sends a photo of her lovely granddad wearing a purple beanie, and the Yarnder team calls me into a room and shows me the photo and goes, that's not my beanie, is it? No. So the beanie that had been picked up is this one, which is actually crocheted. And doesn't look, I mean, not that there was a comparison, but you know, this is what Sophie's one looked like knitted. This is crocheted. So that means there were two purple beanies. It's not like the casino had said, oh yeah, we've got a purple beanie and it was never Sophie's. They said, oh, there's actually two, yeah. So that must only mean that the person who owned this one took Sophie's. Not so nice. So yeah, this is not Sophie's, and she wasn't keen on it. So I'm just going to wash it thoroughly, and then that will go into a donation pile, because it is hand crocheted. It's not a commercial one. So there's a lot of lovely work in it. But yes, that was quite amusing. We got your hat back, here it is. That's not my hat. Oh, awkward. But yes, so late last year I ordered another ball of this yarn because I didn't have any left, and I'm casting on, or sorry, have cast on and knitting a new Kit Kat hat. And it's a very simple pattern, it's another free one, and I'm using 4mm needles, as I said, the worsted weight yarn, and it's fine. I think I did 15 rows of knit 2x2, sorry, ribbing 2x2, knitting and purling, and then I'm just straight stocking it. I think I had in my notes I did 47 rows before then doing the 3 needle bind off, so it'll be very simple. I'm housing it in my lovely YarnderWoman bag that was sewed just for me by my friend Josie. Lovely. So, you know, YarnderWoman for the Yarnder team. And yeah, I cast that on, well, I actually cast it on a few weeks ago, but I didn't even finish casting it on. So when I picked it up the other day, I'm going to change the date in my Ravelry page for the other day because, yeah, as I said, I hadn't even cast on all the numbers. So I just have that next to me while I'm having a cup of tea. I can knit away on that, and it's going very well. I'll probably just give it to Sophie straight away, not worry about waiting for her birthday, which is in June. That way, as soon as the weather cools, she can start wearing it and with her matching gloves. Last work in progress to show you is in this gorgeously cute bag. It's by Homespun House, and I believe this fabric was, I can't remember which company it was by, but it was, I think, called Harajuku. So a place in Tokyo, and you've got all these little sort of Japanese style little cute creatures, and it kind of looks like they're on a really packed train. So cute and lovely canvas. I love this bag. And in here is, oh, it's so pretty. I haven't worked on this in a little while, so just looking at this gorgeous red. Look at that. It's beautiful. Oh, so pretty. This yarn is Hazelnut's Divine, and the colour is Ruby Love, and I was very kindly given this by my friend Becky, who is Westerly Whimsies. She's the Wrapped in Wool audio podcast, and she is originally from Australia but now lives over in America, and she gave that to me the last time she was here or the time before, so I've had a little while, so I'm very happy to now have a project for it. So it's a 75, 15, 10 superwash merino, cashmere and silk. It's so soft. And that colour, isn't that beautiful? It's just as gorgeous as it is showing on the camera. that lovely sheen to it from the silk, and really soft. And the pattern that I'm knitting is the KAL by the gorgeous Frenchie Aroha Knits. And this is also on my Make 9 list. I believe I've mentioned before about Aroha Knits and Frenchie's patterns, and how she has the 4 knitted types. So you can do a little free quiz. I'll link that again. I have linked it in a previous episode, but I'll link it again. So there's the Seeker, the Giver, the Mystic. I can never remember the 4th one. I can never remember all 4. Anyway, do the quiz, you'll find out. I'm a Mystic, and this was a Mystic pattern that she released. I think she had a collection and there was one for each of the types. So you can either buy all 4, but I've just for the moment bought this one. And it's a KAL, so that goes around the neck, and this tassel, swayed me. Beautiful, beautiful. Because I've been wanting to knit more KALs so that, yeah, it's on, you're not having to worry about it. And in the pattern, the yarn she used was something with yak in it. So she was talking about yak having quite a drape, and so to choose, if you're using an alternate yarn, to choose something with a lot of drape. So hence the cashmere silk and superwash merino popped out to me, as well as this gorgeous colour. Look at that variegation, or the tonality, I suppose it is. It's not very, it's tonal. So beautiful. So I was knitting on this. I had a week off work a couple of weeks ago, like planned leave, and I was knitting on this, and it was so peaceful, just doing this section of garter, and you get this beautiful increase here. And then I've put in a lifeline here, just with some white, I think that's fingering weight. Yeah, it's definitely fingering weight, not lace weight. Just some white yarn. I just threaded it through, because from here I start the lace section. And the pattern is very well written, but it's been a while since and to be honest, it's been a while and I haven't done a lot of lace. So I wanted to just protect myself and put a lifeline in. So I haven't done that, because unfortunately during my week off I was only able to do the garter section. It would have been good to have that quiet time to start on the lace, but you know, the week ran out, and it's not like that took me a week to do. I was doing other things. But yes, I can't wait to get back to this. As I said, I haven't opened that in a little while because, you know, life busy, so I've been knitting on quicker things that don't require as much focus as lace, but I'm going to pick it up again soon. One work in progress I did have on the needles, but it is not anymore, was a pair of socks for the Christmas Eve cast on that the lovely Danny of Little Bobbins Knits hosts every year. I cast on, I don't even think I was going to do a patterned sock. I think I was just going to cast on and see what happened. But I did, I think, cast on and 1 round on Christmas Eve. That's as much as I had time for. And then I took it with me in the afternoon, evening of Christmas Day when we went to Damien's parents' house. And I did start knitting on it again, but we were playing Star Wars Trivial Pursuit. I'd had a couple of glasses of wine. I was very tired after having prepared the Christmas meal at our place, and you know, so all in all it didn't work. I realised I did a ribbing. Why do I keep forgetting the word ribbing? I did a ribbing pattern, like number of stitches. I think I did a 2 by 2 or a 1 by 1. Whatever I did, it didn't work out to be even across the number of stitches I had. So once I got round 1 round, so actually I mustn't have even done 1 round on Christmas Eve. I must have just cast on. Yeah, once I got round the full way, I realised I had, you know, 2 knit stitches together. That's it. I must have been doing 1 by 1, and it wasn't going to work out. And so I sort of started fiddling with it, but you know, I was trying to be present in the game that we were playing. As I said, I'd had a couple of glasses of wine, and I was just like, yeah, I'll sort this out tomorrow. And then the next day I was like, you know what? The moment's passed. I didn't do much on Christmas Eve. I could have pulled it out and recast it on, but it wasn't really, you know, high on my list of things that I was really wanting to do. I was really more keen on moving on to some of those Make 9 projects, which I did, and I'm very glad. But that's why there's no Christmas Eve socks, even though I love that tradition and I have made them before, but this year it didn't just work. This didn't work out, and that's fine. So all this talk of my Make 9, and I was thinking about it earlier in the year, and I decided we should have a plan along. So knit along, make along, so crochet, knitting, spinning, anything to do with fibre. where you may have a Make 9 list of your own, although I know a lot of people aren't doing them. Some people have not even heard of what the Make 9 is if they're not on Instagram or it just hasn't come up. So essentially, if you've got a Make 9 list and you want to knit something off that list or crochet, whatever, awesome. If you don't have any plans and therefore you're just knitting on whatever you feel like at that time, that counts too. So plan along doesn't have to be in the traditional sense of I've planned to make this for a while. It could be I've planned to make this for the last 30 seconds and now I'm knitting it. Awesome. Essentially anything goes, but it's just a way, if you do have a list, a good way to sort of channel making something off that list. However, if you've got a list and you decide you don't want to make anything off your list all year, that's fine. This is nothing to do with the KAL. This is just, what I'm saying is, don't put pressure on yourself. Be kind to yourself. If you have a list and you don't want to knit on it, that's fine. Knitting is for you, whatever you want to do. I, as I said, am having fun with my list, so therefore this is working well for me. I'm just reading off my notes because we've got a couple of prizes already for this plan along. We're going to have a few more. If you would like to donate a prize to this or my other current knit along, which is the charity knit along, or make along I should say, do get in touch. I'd love to be able to support your company and also send out a lovely prize to someone. But I might also have a look in my stash and see if there's some lovely yarn that wants to go to another home. We shall see. But the prizes we have at the moment are the Rustic Elegance Shawl pattern by the beautiful Jen Sheelan. And that was donated to me by Jen. That's her latest design. She also gave a copy for me, which was lovely. And the lovely sweater jumper pattern you just saw there was the Penny Pearls by the beautiful Victoria Zakanowicz, and that is our other pattern prize. So thank you both ladies for those patterns. And yes, they should be good inspiration for getting something into this knit along. I believe at the moment I said it would run for all of February. However, because I'm a little bit late in announcing it, we might extend it a little bit into March, but we'll see how we go. I tend to, as you know, if you've been here before, be a bit loosey-goosey, to quote the Prairie Girls, on finish dates and that sort of thing, so we will just play it by ear. But there's a thread already open. It's going to be one thread for everything, so works in progress and finished objects, chatter, commenting, all of it goes. So all in that one thread, and I will draw winners there using random number generator when it comes time. So the more you participate, be that through knitting or just by commenting and cheering people on, the more entries you will have. So thank you very much for sticking through perhaps a bit of a jumpy episode. I hope it wasn't jarring. It was just, you know, a bit, you know, we're here, we're there now, woo! So thank you for bearing with me, and I'm glad to have finally been able to finish recording and tell you about what I had to tell you about and to get this episode out to you. So thank you so much for your time. As I said, there will be a separate episode very soon, which I'll go through my 2019 plans in more detail. Also a bit of a wrap-up of 2018, because it's February, so why wouldn't I do a wrap-up of last year now? So I hope you are having a wonderful day, whatever you are doing. I will see you very soon, and until next time, happy crafting. Bye-bye.